Hello, everyone. I'm Songtao Zhou, the president and CEO of the Colorado Chinese Medicine University. The mission of our school is to cultivate effective Chinese medicine practitioners and provide community service. Over more than 30 years of teaching, we have found a challenge. While Chinese medicine is effective in practice, it is difficult to explain its effectiveness using scientific language. This is not a problem with Chinese medicine, nor is it a problem with science, but rather because the current level of scientific exploration is not advanced enough to explain Chinese medicine. We know that current scientific exploration can only explain about 5% of the universe, so the theory and application of Chinese medicine cannot yet be effectively explained. The theory of Chinese medicine is broad and profound, involving multiple disciplines such as astronomy, mathematics, physics, chemistry, sociology, and psychology. I myself am quite interested in these fields, so I have studied and thought deeply in these areas to better understand and explain the theory of Chinese medicine from a larger academic perspective. For example, qi is the most important concept in the field of Chinese medicine. But what exactly is it? Although we cannot currently prove the existence of qi through observation, we can prove its existence through other means. For instance, if we can prove the existence of meridians, then we can indirectly prove the existence of qi, because qi flows through the meridians. Since the 1980s, the Chinese researcher Zhu Zhongsham's team has used three methods to demonstrate the existence of meridians. The first method, electromechanical detection, involved applying weak electrical pulses to specific acupuncture points and finding highly sensitive points by tapping the skin, forming an invisible meridian transmission line, LPSC, consistent with classical meridian distributions. The second method, skin impedance testing, identified low-resistance points along meridians, creating a low-resistance line, LIP, that matched classical meridian maps. The third method, percussion sound detection, revealed high-vibration sound points along meridians, which, when connected, also aligned with meridian distributions. More recently, a successful study led by Professor Zhang Weibo's team at the Acupuncture Research Institute of the China Academy of Chinese Medical Sciences in 2011 identified low-resistance points along meridians in miniature pigs. Using tissue fluid pressure wave propagation and isotope tracing techniques, they discovered low-resistance channels, proving the biomechanical conditions for tissue fluid flow within the meridians. In 2019, Zhang Weibo's team discovered directional tissue fluid flow trajectories resembling meridians in a transparent fish, marking the first macroscopic observation of fluid flow consistent with meridian pathways in China. This research provided further evidence supporting the existence of the meridian theory in traditional Chinese medicine and was published in the World Journal of Acupuncture Moxibustion. In April 2021, a paper published in the international authoritative journal Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine showed that researchers from the ENN Life Science Research Institute successfully observed continuous fluorescent lines migrating along acupuncture points on human meridians. This work provided strong evidence for the existence of meridians in traditional Chinese medicine. Scientists from the China Academy of Chinese Medical Sciences and Harvard Medical School collaborated on this research and its verification. The team's experiment obtained a clear fluorescent image of the pericardium meridian, spanning over 20 centimeters along the arm. This marks the first time since the 1980s, when radioactive isotope tracing was used, that researchers have employed a new tracing method to capture meridian trajectories in the human body. Through the aforementioned experiments and research, we have discovered that qi possesses both material and energy properties, similar to photons and electrons, which exhibit both wave-like and particle-like behaviors. Since qi exists and exhibits wave-particle duality, it must also be in motion. While we cannot directly observe its movement at present, we can infer the motion of qi by observing the movement of celestial bodies in the universe and applying the concept of holography. According to the traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, philosophy of the unity of heaven and man, the human body is a microcosm of the universe. So, let's observe the movement of the solar system first, and then we can predict how the qi moves in our body. By observing the movement of celestial bodies, whether it be the sun, the earth, or other stars, we see that they all move in a spiral pattern. Therefore, we infer that the movement of qi within the human body is a clockwise spiral. In Ling Shu, 50 Yings, it describes that the length of the meridians around the body is 16 zhang and 2 kai. In one day and night, qi circulates 50 cycles throughout the body. According to the conversion from ancient measurement units to modern ones, 1 kai is approximately 23.1 centimeters to 24.88 centimeters. Based on this calculation, the speed of qi circulation in the human body is approximately 2.166 to 2.3325 centimeters per second. This is roughly equivalent to the level of the men 100-meter freestyle world record. Based on the above analysis, we can conclude that whether qi is in a gaseous or liquid state, its movement aligns with the principles of fluid mechanics. In this paper, we will qualitatively analyze the parameters related to the energy of qi according to fluid mechanics theory. Fluid mechanics encompasses Newtonian fluids and non-Newtonian fluids, compressible and incompressible fluids. It involves external variables such as velocity, acceleration, temperature, density, cross-sectional area, convection, turbulence, viscosity, friction, heating, kinetic energy, potential energy, and other factors. In order to mitigate the complexity arising from these variables, the theoretical research in this speech is based on the following assumptions. 1. This speech specifically discusses the study of qi. On the level of qi, it falls within the scope of Newtonian fluids, making the fluid mechanics formulas mentioned above applicable. 2. In the absence of external intervention, the flow of qi within the human body adheres to the law of conservation of energy. We use the general energy equation of fluid mechanics for this study, which describes the conservation of energy in fluids. This equation states that the total energy of a fluid, comprising kinetic energy, potential energy, and internal energy, remains constant at any given cross-section. We can correlate the energy of the fluid with the energy of qi, linking the fluid's kinetic energy to qi's kinetic energy, the fluid's potential energy to qi's potential energy, and the fluid's internal energy to qi's internal energy. From this, we can derive the general form of qi's energy equation. In this expression, ρ represents the density of the fluid, E represents the internal energy of the fluid per unit mass, V represents the velocity of the fluid, phi represents the potential energy of the fluid per unit mass, P represents the pressure of the fluid, F represents the volume force acting on the fluid, Q represents the heat flux of the fluid, and Q represents the heat source per unit mass of the fluid. Through the energy conservation equation, we understand that changes in fluid energy are related to variables such as fluid velocity, density, pressure, temperature, and viscosity. Based on these variables, we can analyze the changes in these factors before and after acupuncture at specific points, and how they affect the energy of qi. If the energy increases, we consider this to have a tonifying effect, whereas if the energy decreases, we consider this to have a draining effect. When we insert a needle into the meridian, regardless of the thickness of the needle, it will inevitably cause a change in the cross-sectional area. Therefore, we specifically list this simplified energy equation, mainly to describe the relationship between fluid deformation and velocity, density, and cross-sectional area. Now, let's connect the TCM theory and the fluid mechanics to find their connect. Let's look at the treatment principles of traditional Chinese medicine. Tonify when there is deficiency and reduce when there is excess. Here, tonification and reduction both refer to the manipulation of qi. According to traditional Chinese medicine theory, to tonify means to increase the energy of qi, and to reduce means to decrease the energy of qi. Therefore, next, we will examine the specific acupuncture techniques to see how they affect the energy of qi. So, we will use a few simple examples to provide a basic analysis of how different acupuncture techniques affect the energy of qi. The diagrams presented below are cross-sectional illustrations of needle insertion into the body. Since there is still no unified definition of meridian locations, we will temporarily assume that the qi pathways encompass the area from the skin to the bone, representing the channels through which qi flows. This approach allows us to explore how different acupuncture techniques influence variables such as velocity, pressure, and temperature within the qi channels, thereby affecting the energy of qi. As shown in the diagram above, this is a schematic of a meridian in the human body. The meridian is similar to a pipeline, and the qi moves from left to right in the meridian. We will compare the two positions before the needle and after the needle. If the total energy becomes greater, then it's a tonification method. If the total energy becomes lesser, then it's a sedation method. Let's see this picture. This is the perpendicular insertion method. After needling, the cross-sectional area at position 2 is smaller than the cross-sectional area at position 1 before needling. According to the simplified one-dimensional continuity equation, ρ1a1v1 equals ρ2a2v2, when the density is constant and the cross-sectional area decreases, the velocity will increase. Therefore, v2 greater than v1. According to the energy aspect, when the velocity increases, the total energy increases. According to the fluid transmission effect, this increased velocity will continue to be transmitted. Conclusion: the perpendicular insertion method will cause an increase in velocity, leading to an increase in the total energy of the fluid. In the concept of traditional Chinese medicine, this corresponds to a tonifying method. Look at this picture. This is the oblique needling along the meridian method. Same as above, it still causes changes in the cross-sectional area, resulting in increased velocity, where v2 greater than v1. Conclusion: the oblique needling along the meridian method also enhances the energy of the fluid, which corresponds to a tonifying approach in traditional Chinese medicine. Next, let's look at this picture. It is the method that oblique needling against the meridian. Same as above, it still causes changes in the cross-sectional area, resulting in increased velocity, where v2 greater than v1. Conclusion: the oblique needling against the meridian method also enhances the energy of the fluid, which corresponds to a tonifying approach in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, let's start to discuss some more specific method. After inserting the needle into the body, if a twisting and rotating motion is added, we can discuss the impact on fluid energy in 3 scenarios. Perpendicular insertion method, oblique needling along the meridian method, oblique needling against the meridian method. In the method of perpendicular insertion, if we twisting and rotating, if the depth remains constant and only the needle is twisted, whether clockwise or counterclockwise, according to the fluid dynamics equation, the effect on position 2 in this figure is the same as not twisting. In the method of oblique needling along the meridian, if we twisting and rotating, if the position is kept constant and only the needle is twisted, in the case where the original fluid is in a laminar state, smooth flow, turbulence will be formed at position 2 in this figure, leading to an increase in velocity, v_2. If the original fluid state inherently involves rotation, such as clockwise or counterclockwise, then the clockwise or counterclockwise rotation of the needle will accelerate or weaken the original fluid's rotation speed. If we assume that the movement of qi in the human body is also spiraling forward in a clockwise direction, then clockwise rotation of the needle would enhance the rotational speed of the qi microelement, resulting in an overall increase in energy. In the method of oblique needling against the meridian, if we twisting and rotating, if the position is kept constant and only the needle is twisted, in the case where the original fluid is in a laminar state, turbulence will be formed at position 2 in this figure, leading to an increase in velocity, v_2. If, according to our assumption, we believe that qi in the human body also spirals forward in a clockwise direction, then the clockwise rotation of the needle at this point would be opposite to the spiral direction of the qi microelement, resulting in a reduction in qi energy. If the needle rotates counterclockwise, it would be in line with the spiral direction of the qi microelement, enhancing the energy of qi. Next, let's talk more deep. If lifting and thrusting, then the cross-sectional area will undergo changes, resulting in variations in the velocity, v_2. The velocity, v_2, will exhibit a continuous wave-like structure and continue to propagate. Simultaneously, it will induce vortices and turbulence in the original fluid, causing not only changes in velocity but also vertical displacement of the fluid elements. Considering the positions of yin qi, and wei qi, lifting and thrusting can also lead to the exchange between yin qi and wei qi, thereby causing a warming or cooling effect. Now, let's talk about the blade needle, which is more popular currently. Blade needle generally only penetrates the subcutaneous fascia layer. The basic technique involves cutting through the connective tissue of the fascia. According to fluid mechanics theory, when the connective tissue of the fascia is cut, resistance is reduced, meaning the viscosity decreases. This leads to an increase in flow velocity. However, due to the relatively large cross-sectional area of the blade needle, it can also cause the leakage of qi, resulting in a decrease in its density. Overall, the blade needle primarily focuses on reducing the resistance to the flow of qi and alleviating the pressure caused by blockages. Conclusion: the blade needle increases the total energy of qi. In traditional Chinese medicine, there is a saying, "Where there is pain, there is no free flow. Where there is free flow, there is no pain." If the qi pathway is obstructed, it can cause local blockages, leading to pain or other symptoms. The blade needle can clear these pathways, allowing the flow of qi to return to a normal state, bringing balance to the upstream and downstream flow. In traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, acupuncture treatment, before inserting the needle, the practitioner uses their left hand to press or locate the acupuncture point. This is done to accurately identify the location of the acupuncture point and assess the condition of the tissues around the point. By palpating or pressing the point, the practitioner can feel for any tenderness, changes in tissue texture, or other indications that help guide the insertion of the acupuncture needle. It is considered an important preliminary step to ensure precision and effectiveness in acupuncture treatment. The described process involves pressing or palpating the acupuncture point, causing a significant reduction in the cross-sectional area at the point of pressure. This, in turn, leads to an increase in density and velocity. Following this action, the subsequent quick insertion of the acupuncture needle enhances the energy changes induced by the needle insertion. In traditional Chinese acupuncture, during tonifying acupuncture techniques, practitioners cover the needle tip with their hand to prevent the escape of qi. In contrast, during reducing xie acupuncture techniques, they might shake the needle orifice to allow qi to escape. In the latter case, the intentional release of qi leads to a decrease in the density of the qi flow, resulting in an overall reduction in energy. After talking the acupuncture, we will continue to discuss some other method. In traditional Chinese medicine, moxibustion and infrared lamp therapy is widely used and can be easily understood from a physical perspective. Both moxibustion and infrared lamp therapy raise the local temperature. According to thermodynamics, an increase in temperature corresponds to an increase in molecular kinetic energy. In terms of energy, when the temperature rises, the overall energy of the fluid increases. Conclusion: moxibustion and infrared lamp therapy induce a rise in temperature, leading to an overall increase in energy. Therefore, moxibustion is generally considered a tonifying technique or increase the velocity. The infrared lamp therapy is similar. Next, we will discuss about the cold compress method and hot compress method. The cold compress method, such as applying ice, can lower the temperature and reduce the kinetic energy of the fluid. It is commonly used in scenarios involving acute injuries or trauma, such as those caused by external impacts. In such cases, tissue damage occurs beneath the skin, causing blockages that affect the flow of the fluid. Due to the blockage, the fluid accumulates at the affected site, leading to swelling and heat. The use of cold compresses aims to alleviate the stagnation of the fluid in these situations. The hot compress method, such as applying heat, can raise the temperature and increase the kinetic energy of the fluid. It is commonly used in scenarios involving chronic pain or during the recovery period after an injury. In these situations, increasing the kinetic energy of the fluid helps clear blockages, restoring the flow of the fluid and aiding in blood circulation and muscle relaxation. Now, let's talk more. The cupping therapy, which involves creating a negative pressure on the body's surface, causes a local increase in cross-sectional area. This leads to a decrease in density or velocity. Additionally, due to the change in the shape of the pipeline, analogous to the vessels in the body, turbulence can also be induced. Let's make the summary. Through the analysis above, we have applied the principles of fluid mechanics to explain the changes in the energy of qi induced by acupuncture and other physical therapy methods. The following conclusions can be drawn. Acupuncture or other physical methods can cause changes in the energy of qi within the body. reflecting in aspects such as temperature, density, velocity, viscosity, etc. This is achieved by increasing or decreasing the total energy of qi to achieve tonifying or reducing effects. The common tonifying methods include A. Inserting the needle in the same direction as the flow of qi, coupled with clockwise twisting to increase the flow velocity. B. Using lifting and thrusting techniques to raise the temperature. C. Clearing the qi pathways to ensure smooth airflow. D. Applying moxibustion or infrared lamps to increase temperature and kinetic energy. E. Using heat application, acupressure, and other methods. The common reducing methods include A. Inserting the needle against the direction of qi flow, coupled with clockwise twisting to decrease flow velocity. B. Opening the needle hole wider during withdrawal to decrease qi density. C. Using lifting and thrusting techniques to decrease temperature. D. Applying cupping therapy to decrease qi density. E. Cold compress therapy. Thank you for your watching. I am not a professional physicist, and there will inevitably be some technical errors in today's presentation. Here's my contact information, and I hope we can communicate with each other.